I just wanted to really take this opportunity to explain a little bit about what's happening in Western Australia. There's 4 of us here from Western Australia and a few others. But it was 2008 when the state government there changed the policy. They lifted a ban on uranium mining. And since that time, we've just seen an explosion of activity in Western Australia, and it largely goes unregulated and unmonitored, and there's very little experience around uranium exploration and mining there. We just saw the release of an Auditor General's report in Western Australia which highlighted a whole range of issues that happen in the Western Australian mining industry. And before that, there was a report which highlighted that 85% of mining operations in Western Australia are non-compliant with regulations. So when you talk about uranium mining in Western Australia, it's really scary because it's huge and it's really remote. There's a lot of mining companies and they have each other's backs, and we have a government and a regulator that doesn't do it well, and all their staff that do it well get poached by the mining industry. So there's a lot of concern about if a mine ever gets up, but there's also concern about the exploration that's happening now. And there's over 150 companies, some of them in joint ventures. There's a total of 45 projects that we know about. And that's another problem in Western Australia, is actually trying to access the information about who's doing what, where and when. The Department of Mines and Petroleum is anything but transparent. We had to get freedom of information just to find out those 45 companies. And speaking of freedom of information, that's one of the questions that we're going to raise at BHP Billiton's AGM tomorrow morning, because this industry in Western Australia, it has been contested and there's a long history of opposition to it. And so what the environmentalists and others have been calling for is a public inquiry into this industry. We've never had it before, we've never wanted it before, we're not sure we can do it safely, and what are our responsibilities? In WA we've had a lot of pressure from international groups looking at Western Australia as a dumping ground for the world's nuclear waste. So there's this mentality in WA that has really pushed everybody there to support a public inquiry, saying we need this, we need to understand this industry better. And last year at the BHP annual general meeting in Perth, we asked that question. BHP, you've got this, social policies, good corporate citizen, you paint yourself as this. Why would you then block a public inquiry? People in WA are unsure. Give them that opportunity to think about this industry, to put it out, lay it all out on the table, be transparent, let's talk about it. And Jack Nasser said, yeah, in theory we support a public inquiry. So we went away and we had a couple of meetings. We met the appeals convener because it's something that we've pushed for and the WA government has rejected. And they said, they dropped a hint that BHP had been giving them legal advice. So we applied for freedom of information and found out, yes, in fact, BHP was giving the West Australian government legal advice to say, don't hold a public inquiry into this industry. So tomorrow when we go there, we'll be asking Jack Nasser, did you know that while you were saying yes, you support a public inquiry, your employees were there doing exactly the opposite? So BHP is not the only influential mining company in Western Australia. There's a lot of them, and they're really throwing their weight and support behind the nuclear industry. So it's great to be here and have lots of people supporting the actions against BHP as a whole. And we do that here in Melbourne. Last year we did it in Perth. The year before that, Brisbane. The year before that, it was Melbourne. And it's been happening in London every year. And we've been producing these reports, the Dirty Energy Report. And this year's really exciting because it's kind of taking it one step further, because we've been talking about human rights and all these things, and we've tied it all together, and this is the Dirty Energy Report. And it looks at the human cost of producing this stuff and calling on BHP to be a leader in changing this way. They've got the money. We know they've got the money. They're probably the only company that could really transition us into a renewable energy future. Not the only, it's going to happen eventually anyway, but they could really lead the way and make that a good opportunity for them. So this will be an exciting report to launch there tomorrow. And I'll leave it there, thanks.